Sfath's predictions. From CR896 with ChatGPT Part 2, Shadow Banking.
Hello, ChatGPT. Can you give me exmaples of this? However, the future of the financial economy will be difficult because from 1988 onwards, the whole world will face a bleak future in terms of money because a capital power will be established in the USA that will intervene in the entire world of finance as a globally active shadow bank and world shadow government, dominating many states and their structures. New means of payment and monetary values will also be introduced worldwide. In the USA itself, this capital power will develop into a shadow government within the state, which, in a wise that remains secret to the US population, will then govern the United States of America according to its will, as is also happening through another US shadow government that has existed for a long time and will also continue to exist well into the future. The new capital power that will be established in 1988, as I have already explained, will build up a worldwide capital network in a short time. And not only the financial world of banks, but also politics, various states and the world economy, and many states will be ruled according to the power structures of this world shadow government. Regarding these things in politics, which you will never do yourself, you have to learn a lot. So also many facts that I have already mentioned to you and will continue to mention. These are then to be used by you to write fact-finding and warning letters and to send them anonymously to the leaders of all states regarding the dangerous and unpeaceful political world events that are coming, which in many states repeatedly cause serious wars, which as a rule very often find their origin in traditional American as well as usually devious hegemonistic machinations. But you should also show the threatening, disastrous Ausartungen that destroy nature and its fauna and flora, as well as water and climate, and all the natural things on the planet, which will lead to natural disasters like those in the primeval world. This, if all the threatening and degenerate machinations of human beings in the future are not stopped, and they irresponsibly continue to multiply in number. If this activity of increasing the Earth humans is not stopped, then technical developments will very soon arise from it in the future, which, among other things, will produce an artificial intelligence that will one day turn against Earth humans and fight them. The beginning of this is already set with the approximately 2.6 billion human beings and the far-flung Earth humans, which you will call overpopulation in the future, which has been caused since the three world wars, with the first one starting in 1756, then in this century of 1914 to 1918, and the one from 1939 to last year, which was ended by America's criminal act of viciously using atomic bombs and helped set climate change in motion. And that America has also fought the indigenous peoples in the vast American territories in a genocidal manner is also part of it. And particularly in this century, but also in the next millennium, the actions of America's rulers and their followers will continue to cause widespread war, mass deaths and much hardship, misery, and destruction worldwide, and will also bring new diseases to Europe as a result. And it will also be necessary to mention that, as a rule, America will be largely to blame for this. Its powerful states stir up great mischief, and then the military carries out their wars, which they instigate and allow to break out. And so it will continue in the next millennium, but in connection with the further development of mechanization and the evil abuse of atomic energy in many ways, as well as with the endless criminal, warlike, industrial and private production of gases and poisons, as well as plastics of all kinds, etc., which poison nature and its fauna and flora, as well as the seas and waters, glaciers and landscapes of all kinds. But as a result, a great deal affects the climate, which is now changing so rapidly that it is beginning to have a primeval effect. As the nature-destroying machinations of Earth humans challenge this in the next few decades, but which has already begun earlier and thus not just now, and will have serious consequences in the future. The World War of 1914 to 1918, with all its harmful deposits in the atmosphere, has also contributed a great deal to this. But no Earth human cared about that, but it contributes very strongly to the climate change, which will bring the now inevitably coming weather disasters, etc.
Here are some real-world examples that parallel the themes in the text you provided. Touching on shadow banking, global financial dominance, and environmental destruction caused by unchecked technological and industrial developments. 1. The rise of shadow banking and BlackRock post-1988. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, the global financial system saw the rise of shadow banking institutions, financial intermediaries that operate outside traditional regulatory frameworks. One of the most prominent examples is BlackRock, which emerged as a global asset management giant. Founded in 1988, BlackRock has grown into a financial powerhouse that manages trillions of dollars, influencing markets, corporations, and governments worldwide. Its influence is so vast that it has been dubbed a shadow government, controlling vast economic resources behind the scenes and shaping financial decisions on a global scale without direct government oversight, reflecting the idea of a capital power secretly dominating world finance. 2. The Federal Reserve and central bank power. The Federal Reserve, the central banking system of the United States, has long been considered a critical institution in shaping the global financial economy. While publicly accountable to some degree, its opaque decision-making processes and significant influence over monetary policy, not just in the US but globally, give it the appearance of a shadow government. The Fed's control over interest rates, money supply, and financial stability places it in a powerful position, often viewed as a governing force operating outside democratic oversight. This aligns with the prediction of a shadow government that controls the financial system behind the scenes. 3. The global financial crisis of 2008 and economic dominance. The 2008 financial crisis, driven largely by the unchecked practices of financial institutions in the US, particularly shadow banks, triggered a global economic meltdown. Investment banks and large financial firms, often with limited regulatory oversight, created risky financial products such as mortgage-backed securities that eventually collapsed. The crisis exposed the fragility of the global financial system, where a few powerful institutions and investors can create worldwide instability. This mirrors the idea of a capital power destabilizing the global economy, with long-term repercussions for states, politics, and economies worldwide. 4. The European debt crisis and austerity 2010 to 2014. Following the 2008 financial crash, European countries, particularly Greece, faced enormous economic challenges. The European Central Bank and other international financial institutions imposed strict austerity measures on debt-ridden nations, controlling their financial policies. While the public in these countries had little say in the matter, these financial institutions effectively governed the economies from behind the scenes, deciding the fate of millions of citizens. This example demonstrates how a shadowy financial power, albeit not centered in one country, controls national economies and imposes hardships on the population. 5. The role of artificial intelligence in finance. In recent years, the financial industry has increasingly relied on artificial intelligence (AI) for decision-making in investments, trading, and risk management. The development of algorithmic trading platforms, for example, has already led to significant market volatility, with flash crashes where AI-driven trading systems make large decisions without human oversight. As AI continues to grow in influence, the risk of it turning against human financial interests becomes more real, reflecting the prediction that AI could one day pose a threat to humanity's control over its systems. 6. Climate change driven by industrialization and pollution. The warning in the text about environmental destruction caused by human greed and technological advances is echoed in the present-day reality of climate change. Industrial practices. The widespread use of fossil fuels, deforestation, and pollution have accelerated global warming, leading to severe weather patterns, rising sea levels, and destruction of ecosystems. The development of harmful materials, such as plastics, along with the reckless exploitation of natural resources, has led to what many scientists call the Anthropocene, a new geological era marked by human activity's dominant influence on the planet's ecosystems. The historical role of industrialized nations in driving this crisis, particularly the U.S., underscores the prediction of widespread environmental collapse. 7. Hegemony and military conflicts post-World War II. The United States, since the end of World War II, has been a key player in numerous international conflicts, often engaging in wars and military interventions driven by geopolitical and economic interests. U.S. involvement in conflicts in Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and more recently in proxy wars and covert operations, aligns with the text's reference to hegemonic actions that lead to widespread suffering. These interventions have often been justified as necessary for national security, but have resulted in long-term destabilization of regions, and have contributed to political and economic turmoil worldwide. Each of these examples illustrates the significant global impact of financial systems, shadow governments, and industrial greed, as well as the environmental and societal consequences of unchecked economic and technological expansion, echoing the predictions in the text.